Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news as Ruben Amorim looks at a different Manchester United transfer plan. I've just realised I'm looking at the wrong bloody camera. Lots to get into on the show tonight, slightly different camera, that's why I'm late. I'll explain that in a moment, but we're going to be talking about the latest transfer strategy from Ruben Amorim as we abandon the need for a left-back and focus on two midfielders and a centre-back. We'll delve into what that's all about as well. Also, we've got some updates around what might be going on in January. Harry Maguire, Casemiro as well. Also, big shout out to Mbeumo. He's been awarded Premier League Player of the Month for October, which is quite a rarity as when it comes to Manchester United. So we should be giving him a shout out as well. I am different tonight. I am a little bit darker tonight. Basically, I've been using a Sony A7 III camera for about 6 years. I suppose it was inevitable at one day it would pack in. It decided to pack in about 10 minutes ago. So I've had to work out something that I can just go live with or not go live at all. So hence I have this tonight. And yes, the colouring is not how I would normally like it, but it's better than nothing. So that's why I'm like that. I'm using an Osmo Pocket, and I don't really understand. I think I do understand, actually. I think I understand a lot. I think I really do understand because I've absolutely done nothing with, like, there we go. That's a little bit better. That brightness is not so good. I should have done all this before I went live, really. I mean, that's better straight away. And... Oh, I've been on holiday. No, don't want to go that high. Don't know. Yeah, I need to mess around with some of this stuff later, but that'll do for now. That's too much apparently. Okay, this is stuff I shouldn't have done. Maybe I shouldn't have done the stream now. You've got me thinking maybe I shouldn't have done it, but I always think that the brightness is too much. Oh my God. Contrast is too much. The brightness is too much. You've got to mess around with it a little bit, haven't you? You have to. Okay, well, let's get into the show. Let's not mess around with that. It is what it is. It's not perfect, but there definitely may be signs not even accurate either. That's not good. I'm not putting up with that. There we go. Are you still doing Man City Dortmund? I don't know. I actually do not know whether I'm going to do that. You look like David Dickinson. To me, it looks okay. But anyway, we're here to talk about Manchester United. Sod it. So the news tonight is that Manchester United, this is coming in from The Athletic, that Manchester United are not going to go for a left wing back in the summer. We're going to go for a centre-back and two midfielders. Now, obviously, I think with two midfielders, I'd be pretty happy about that. But what do you think? Like, do you think we need to be going for a left wing back? Left wing back is not a priority, according to The Athletic. This is not a priority position for Manchester United this summer. One or two midfielders and a centre-back are the main targets. Also, in addition to that, Laurie Whitwell says, I'd be surprised if anyone substantial came in January. Maybe if Mainu or Xerxes go out on loan, then they might bring someone in on a temporary basis. I mean, look, this is all subjective information. There's no doubt about that. It's subjective and it's not necessarily going to be fact. As I said, I think it's always very difficult in January to be looking at it and saying, you know, it's not even January, it's November, to be saying we're not going to go for a left wing back. But I think that I'd be a little bit confused as to why we're going for a defender, a centre back, when you think about Martinez, Maguire. I mean, what we got? We've got Heaven, Shaw, Martinez, De Ligt, Maguire, Mazraoui, Yoro. 7 centre-backs for 3 positions, and Maguire's apparently going to stay. So I don't really understand why we would be going for another centre-back over a left wing-back where we've only got Dorgu and Leon, and a right wing-back where we've only got Ahmad and Dalot. So we've also got Mazraoui, of course. Yes, good point. Well done, Marvin AM. So that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to me with regards to why we wouldn't go for a left wing back. The reason Mendes is on the thumbnail is because obviously that was a player that we were looking at last summer. So maybe that's a player that we could go for next this summer. But look, I have a great belief in Dorgu. And I really do think that he could be a useful player for Manchester United. But I think my opinion is it's way too early to be saying that Manchester United aren't priority. Look, what would worry me, the contradiction here is that I think a lot of people try and project that they know what's going on at Manchester United. A lot of people got to eat, whether it's The Athletic, the Manchester Evening News, the Daily Mail, whatever. They've all got to eat. So they've all got to put information out there. And when you've been following Man United for 30, 40 years, like many of us have, all these people have got to eat. So all these people are apparently getting told stuff by Man United, and they're not. That's not being harsh. They've all got to eat. They've all got to try and get you to read their articles, but they're not all being told what's going on. Jason Wilcox said this morning that on a weekly basis, they are assessing their options, they're scrutinising what's available, they're looking at where the holes are in the team. So how on earth in the first week of November can The Athletic be telling us we're not going for a left wing back in the summer? How on earth can they be telling us that we're going for a centre back in the summer? The reality is, as of today, somebody somewhere may have said something to them that, at the moment they're very happy with Dorgu and Leon and they're not looking for a left wing back. If anything, they're looking for another centre back, Jared Branthwaite. That might be the story today. It doesn't mean it's the story tomorrow. For example, if Dorgu, doesn't fulfil his potential this season, maybe we would go for a left wing back. If Mainu suddenly starts getting into the team and Agate does well, maybe we don't sign any midfielder. Maybe we still sign two. So I'd rather subscribe to the view that it's a very flexible situation. And there's no mention of a striker there either. Are we just going to just say stubbornly that Sesko can play 60 games a season and do the job as a striker for 90 minutes every single game? Of course, we need a striker as well. And it even references Xerxes in January. So I don't think that we can talk in priorities, but we can also talk in realities. And the reality is Manchester United at the moment are very much a work in progress, and we don't know where the gaps are going to show. It's like going out on the ocean in a boat, isn't it? You might think your weakness is, your stern, and actually it's your, I don't know anything about boats, starboard board. I don't know anything about boats, but yeah, we don't know. We don't know. Palad says you don't look very well, Mark. It's very, very boring. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people in the comments and we can all, you'll help the algorithm by whacking comments in later on about the video, but I have already explained it once and I have got a lot to talk about, and I've got to go and set some fireworks off with Seb before I watch Man City. So I don't intend to tell the story again. Suffice to say, there wasn't going to be a stream because the camera's broke, so I've had to hook it up to a different camera, but I haven't had time to do the brightness and the imagery and everything like that. So I probably do look a little bit yellow. It's not a cry for help. I'm not trying to be the president of America. It's just this or nothing. Simple as that. And I'm still looking at the wrong camera because that's the wrong one and that's the right one. This is really weird. I tell you what, though, just for a little bit of light relief before we carry on to talking about what's come out from that article about Casemiro and Harry Maguire. I did find this quite interesting. So the new Opta supercomputer is currently predicting that Manchester United will finish with 56 points and will finish 8th in the Premier League. They're predicting that United will finish behind teams including Crystal Palace, Bournemouth and Aston Villa. They have a 12.4% chance of qualifying for the Champions League. Supercomputer, more like bloody Pratt computer. I mean, what nonsense is this? What nonsense is this? I mean, look, 56 points. How many points have we got at the moment? I'm going to find out. Look, I think we've got a very, very good chance of 5th place if we want it. And we do want it. Of course we want it. And, supercomputer, I do this every other week on my Goldbridge Hot Takes. I take on the AI for the weekend fixtures, and I've won every bloody week. So we've got 17 points from 10 games. So if you times that by 2, that's 34. Well, I suppose it's not far off. No. We've got 17 points from 10 games. Times that by 3, and that's 51 points. So we've not had the best start to the season anyway, and we've got 17 points from 10. If you times it by 3, that's 51 points. And we'd still have another 8 games as well. Computer's talking out its arse. So we're going to have a horrible second half to the season. I mean, so we've got 17 points from 10 games. And there's 38 games in the season. realistically, we could be hitting as many as 65 points. And that's saying 56. And that's just if we do what we've done on the last 10 games, which is what? Win 5, lose 3, and draw 2. It's talking out its arse. I don't know what the supercomputers... I don't know what's so super about it. Pratt computer is what I would say. But yeah, I wanted to throw that in just to get your thoughts as well. But that's a load of nonsense. Absolute load of nonsense. And yes, as I said at the start of the video, Brian Mbeumo has won Premier League Player of the Month award for October, which is nice. It's another good achievement for Manchester United. Of course it is. We're very, very happy about that. Also in The Athletic, it says there are no ongoing talks with Casemiro about a contract extension. As with Harry Maguire, the club will look at how the season goes before deciding. The +1 that United have in Casemiro's contract, if triggered, means they have to pay him £280,000 a week for another season, or a further 25% if they qualified for the Champions League. So what's 25% of 280 grand? It's 70, isn't it? 70. So we would, if we qualify for the Champions League, we've got to give Casemiro 350 grand a week for another year. Get out. Literally get the F out. Absolutely shut up. He's not, no, absolutely no. I don't know why. I mean, look, we're here to have an opinion. Of course we are. I don't know why people in our fan base live up the arse of Casemiro. He is a former great player. But we're paying him 280 grand a week at the moment. We're paying him, and there is an account on Twitter that does compilations of Casemiro after every game. I hope Casemiro's given you a bit of his overpaid wage to do it, because 280 grand a week, he ain't playing like he's being paid 150 grand a week. What's to think about? Seriously, what's to think about? Oh, we're going to wait and see what happens this season. Well, let me explain it to you. If he plays well and we get Champions League football, you've got to give him a bloody 70 grand pay rise to keep him for another year. You've got to pay him 350 grand a week. And if he doesn't play well and we don't get Champions League football, you're still going to give him another contract on 280 grand a week. Shut up, get out, and let's get into the real world here. He's running his contract down and he's off to the MLS or Qatar. Or Saudi, and we're not renewing him. It's a load of bollocks. What's basically happening here is a bit of positive PR. Ooh, we might keep you. We might keep you. And Casemiro's going, ooh, I might stay. Why? Just to keep this. I'll tell you what, Casemiro, let's just keep it steady. It's better for all parties. We know you're going. You know you're going. But don't let them know you're going, because ultimately it's your last year and it's like, it's a bit weird, isn't it, that you're going and you're starting for the team. So let's pretend you might stay and we'll pretend that you might stay. And actually, you can go and you'll make some money and we'll make some money. So he's gone. He's gone. There's no way, even if he somehow becomes our player of the year, we're going to give him a 70 grand pay rise and give him 350 grand a week. He's gone. I've always said he's gone. He will be gone. He should be gone. Because there is no player in this squad that's worth 350 grand a week, and it certainly is not a 33-year-old Casemiro. So, absolutely no way. With regards to Harry Maguire, I think we've spoken about it before. Maybe that's why we're looking at a centre-back. Maybe that's why centre-back's a priority. Maybe we're going to look at Harry Maguire, letting Harry Maguire go. But come see, come saw on that one for me, because, as I've said to you before, I think I understand the experience that Harry Maguire has in relation to the, barriers he's had to climb to stay at Man United, the comebacks he's had to fight to stay here, and that can be quite useful in the dressing room. But at what price? He's currently on 190 grand a week, so yeah, let's see how that one plays out. But look, I suppose in a way it's a positive that we're not rushing to sign these new contracts for these players, because I think that would be massively naive. Let me just get into your comments here, because I just realised I've been very greedy and not giving you a chance. Talk of town is Diamonde from Sporting in January, says Bisson. What town? What town's that? The ghost town? I've not heard this story at all. Talk of the town is Diamonde from Sporting in January. I've never heard anything about this. Town called Malice? What are you talking about? I've never heard it. Never heard of that at all. Diamonde is a player that Manchester United may well look at from Sporting, as much as Inacho may well be, but I've not heard anything about that. at all. Would you sell Mount for inconsistent being injury, says JB. Mate, if someone wants to give me some money for Mount, let's do it. But they don't, and they won't. So forget about that. Rub says, top 3 Argentine footballers, Maradona, Garnacho, and Pat Messi, says Rub. Okay. Thoughts on Maximilian Mittelstad at left wing back, says Marcus Day. Well, we're not going for one. We're not going for one, are we? So that's my thoughts on that. I get there's a lot of good left backs in Germany, but is Mittelstad not edging towards 30 as well? Gramer says Greybridge, thank you very much. Gabrielle has gifted 5 memberships this evening as well. Love it when people gift memberships because it's for you. If you got your badge in because of Gabrielle, then he's one of our moderators as well. Make sure you give them a bit of love. And It's Me's gifted a membership as well. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. So yeah, going back to what we were talking about at the start, Manchester United apparently will not be prioritising a left back or a left wing back this summer. It'll be 1 or 2 midfielders and a centre back. And Laurie Whitwell goes on to say, I'd be surprised if anyone comes in January of substance. Maybe they'll bring someone in temporary if Mainu or Xerxes go out on loan. And so it begins. I think we can all sit here and say that, look, I listened to the Ronaldo interview. We spoke about it last night. I think it's a brilliant interview, a perfect time, because he's the best player in the world, probably one of the best players ever. He's not the best player in the world now, but you know what I mean. He's the biggest footballer in the world. And he spoke quite openly about Manchester United. So, for fuck's sake. Shut up. It's like she's in the bloody room with me. Stupid bloody dog. Although, I've got to say, it is bonfire night, so dogs get scared. And I've probably just come across as, well, you can't get me on that, RS. I didn't realise it was probably the fireworks that have set it off. But it felt like I was in the bloody room. I thought it was coming in the room. I thought it was going to attack me. Then the RSPCA'd back off, wouldn't they? Yeah, I'll tell you what. Anyway, what were we talking about? Ghostbridge, says Swami. These fireworks are loud. These are loud. So, you can hear him. I don't know what's going on with the acoustics tonight. It's all going wrong tonight. The visual, I look like I've bloody got fake tan on. The audio's going wrong. Yeah, it's not going wrong. But yeah, as I was saying there, I mean, look, and so it begins, doesn't it? You know, Man United probably aren't going to do anything in January. In the summer, they're not looking at a left wing back. They're looking at a centre back and 2 midfielders. It does turn your stomach a little bit because you're sort of like, I know the Wilcox interview was interesting, but I'd lean towards Ronaldo's interview over Wilcox because I think he knows more about winning than Wilcox, and he knows more about Man United than Wilcox. And Wilcox is basically just sat there saying, this is our plan and we think it's going to work, with absolutely no experience on how it's going to work. I mean, this is the big problem at Manchester United. Wilcox doesn't have a bloody clue. Amorim doesn't have a clue. Barada doesn't have a clue. Sir Jim doesn't have a clue. Favel doesn't have a clue. There's nobody in that football club that's got a clue about winning at Manchester United. And I say that in the nicest possible sense. So I think you've always got to keep that in your head as well, that, you know, we don't need a left wing back. We need another centre back. We need, you know, we definitely, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't see why we'd go for another centre back before going for another striker. I don't see why we'd go for another centre back before going for another wing back. I think we're well stacked at centre back. I really, really do. Midfield's got to be a priority, and I think striker as well. And if we're not going to do anything in January, the question has to be why. Because you've still got £50 million in your skyrocket pocket from the Belabor deal that you didn't do. You've still got a bit of money in your pocket because you were going to do a deal for Conor Gallagher. You can't now say there's no value in January, because there is value in January, and you've got money in your pocket as well. And Amorim needs a midfielder. So we can't just sit there and go, oh, you know, we don't want to do anything in January. I'll tell you exactly what they're going to do in January. If they don't buy anyone in January, this is what they'll do. They'll say, we've got our targets and we know who they are. And we're not going to move away from those targets because that would be foolish. We know who we want, and they're more summer targets than January targets. So we have a plan and we're going to stick to that plan. But the great thing about this is it's exactly the same plan they had last January. And the targets they had last January, they didn't fucking get. Because they didn't get Kenda and they didn't get Gyökeres because they went and played for Chelsea and Arsenal. So I think that it's all right saying, oh, we've got our summer targets and we're not going to go for anyone in January. But will you get your summer targets? Because you didn't last year. You fucked that up. So I think that, look, it might seem a little bit on the front foot, but I absolutely do think we've got to do something in January. Absolutely. And if we don't do something in January, then I think that we may well end up in a situation where we regret it. But there we go. Solid Blake says Gallagher in January is all we'll do. I mean, I'd be happy with that. I would be happy with that. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's absolutely fine. A Conor Gallagher type midfielder is probably about what we're going to be able to do in January. But I don't think we can sit there and go, we're not going to do anything in January. I mean, the midfield is hardly doing very well at the moment, is it? It really isn't. We're not utilising Agate. We're not utilising Mainu. Board Dave says Delap was our top target. I'm gutted we missed out. You're probably the only one. Lighting is different, yes. I'm going to try and fix it for the Man City stream. But signing Gallagher and letting Mainu go is shocking, says Marvin. Well, we've not done it yet. Not done it yet. Gallagher and Bruno wouldn't work, though, says Threefold Path. Oh, God. You know what? I never thought I'd say this about you, Threefold Path, but please tell us more. Why would a number 10 not work with an actual midfielder that's box-to-box? Why would that not work? Why would Bruno and Conor Gallagher not work? I would love to know this. What about Bruno Fernandes means he'd work with anybody? Bruno won't work with anyone because he's not a fucking midfielder. Conor Gallagher is a midfielder. So how can you say Bruno and Conor Gallagher wouldn't work? You could say Conor Gallagher and Casemiro won't work. Maybe but you can't say Bruno and Conor Gallagher wouldn't work. I mean, what about Bruno is a midfielder? How do you even figure that out that they don't work? Conor Gallagher is a midfielder. Bruno isn't. How can you say they wouldn't work? Connor G for me in January. Can we bring the dog in? Says Corey Lineker. No, I'm going to have to. What do you do with a dog on Halloween? I mean, bonfire night. Is it true that he won't work with anyone, but I mean they want the same space on the pitch? Says Threefold Path. Conor Gallagher and Bruno Fernandes wouldn't want the same space on the pitch. No, absolutely not. Neither of them work in a pivot, says Dale. I think you're misprofiling Conor Gallagher massively. I really do. I mean, what do you think? You're getting mixed up with Kevin Gallagher, the former Coventry and Blackburn striker. I mean, do you actually watch Conor Gallagher? Has anybody actually watched him play for Chelsea and for England? Because I don't know what you think he is, but you're massively misprofiling him if you think he's a conflict with Bruno or you think he can't play in a midfield. I mean, yeah, he's actually a midfielder. He actually is a midfielder. He actually is box to box. He actually is tenacious in the tackle. He actually can pass. You might not think he's good enough, but, Nick P says, I'm loving the substitute camera. It's turned you into Peter Schmeichel post-match interview. Pure nostalgia. I don't know what that means, but I need to fix this because I've got to go and do some fireworks and then I'm meant to be on Dortmund Man City. Anyway, apologies. I know it wasn't the best stream in the world, but it was better than nothing. I hate letting people down, and we'd set the stream up and we had some stuff to talk about, so I had to find a way around it. Thanks everyone for watching tonight. I'm back with you on the morning show. We'll get it sorted, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Take care. Thanks for watching. Speak to you in a bit. I'm on That's Football in 20 minutes, hopefully. Thanks for watching.